Hi, good afternoon to all. We are waiting for the speaker and we will start our today's webinar on Dreamers Day on the occasion of birth anniversary of our beloved late APJ, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam ji. So just we are waiting for the speaker and other participants. Please be here. Thank you. Uh, Krishna, I'll make you the host. So,
Hello, am I audible to you, everyone? Everybody, sir. Udesh, sir, could you please just confirm if I'm audible?
yeah, you are
Yes, you are.
audible.
Thank you, Ajit sir and Udesh sir. Also, Ajit sir, just please confirm whenever uh, Prabhat Ranjan sir is with us. I believe, Udesh sir, we are recording this session, so we will start as soon as Ranjan sir is with us. And just because the session is recorded, so we will share the session with the audience or the people who wanted to join the session later on as well. So probably just whenever the Ranjan sir will join, we'll start the session. Okay, sir?
So I sent him a message.
Definitely,
We are
definitely.
ready.
Definitely.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello, Prabhat
welcome,
Ranjan ji.
Professor Ji.
Very warm good evening to
Namaste.
Professor sir. Am I audible to you, sir?
Yes, you're audible. Namaste, Ajit ji.
Namaste.
Sir, on behalf of the organizing team, Together We Dream, Neve and Khushigram, I, Krishna Trivedi, founder of Together We Dream, welcome you on this occasion of birth anniversary of Dr. Kalam, who inspired us all to dream big. And because of his inspiration, we today are gathered here to celebrate this day as Dreamers Day. Also, we celebrate this day as World Students Day as well. And probably I was having this discussion with Ajit sir. That's in the student life. If we can, the most common thing about student life is dreaming. So even the thing that we are enforcing that Dr. Kalam birthday can be celebrated as Dreamers Day. I believe this is something unconventional which we are trying to do. But from the learning that I had from Dr. Kalam, he always told us to walk the unexplored path. Okay, so it's a great privilege, especially to be with Professor Prabhat Ranjan sir, Ajit sir, who is also a dreamer, and also my inspiration in this, Dr. Updesh Verma sir. He like our collaboration with Neve is more than a year now. He has supported us in our journey to reach out to more audience and uh, make this idea of Together We Dream, or the idea of knowledge for everybody and for empowerment of the society, should be spread to all corners. So we had various webinars in association with Neve. So just coming to the point, to the theme of this discussion. without wasting much of the time, today when we are celebrating Dr. Kalam's birthday as Dreamers Day, the question is why we want this day, or why are we trying to make this day celebrated as Dreamers Day. As a young dreamer, I always believe that this society is established by dreamers. Whatever good things that we talk about today, like we are having this video conferencing, we are at different places in the world, but we are connected. Internet, electricity, or any invention that you talk about, it's all because somebody dreamt of it and never gave up. So if we wanted to create a livable planet, if we wanted to bring and do something innovative, we need to support our young dreamers. Especially, I believe Professor Ranjan sir has done a lot. And when I was just uh, watching his videos, his words on YouTube, the most inspirational thing which I felt about his work, that he is one of the futurists, or one of the prominent futurists of the country. Even I believe we can just also call him a young dreamer as well, because the things that I have heard in his videos, like he's trying to set up a nuclear fusion lab in his university in Pune, which is a kind of a big dream basically. And that's great that he's also I have heard in his videos that he's also getting some support from investors in California, in Silicon Valley. So these are few things that dreamers need to be supported. That's what the idea of this webinar is. Because if we will support the dreamers, then only we can create better future. If we will be on this mentality that our generation should have a clear path, that they should first give their complete their 12th, then their graduation, then qualify a competitive exam, then take up a job, then earn, and then carry on with their livelihood, and then do all the probable things that come up in their life. I believe this way we are not going to create systems which can, or solutions which can cater the need of the society. So we need to support students who are intrigued to do something different. Not student, everybody, including people like Ranjan sir, Updesh Verma sir, and Ajit sir, or even me included, because in some way we all are a dreamer. So without wasting much of time, I believe I have explained the theme in brief. So I won't waste much of time, because I believe it would be better if Professor Ranjan sir can share the insight over his this topic from his journey. So before giving the mic to Professor Ranjan sir, I would request Dr. Updesh Verma sir to please share a few words to welcome Professor Ranjan sir in front of the audience. Thanks a lot. Over to you, Dr. Updesh Verma sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, Krishna. And you are doing very hard work and always dreaming. So it's very important part for a student, as well as all the like people to dream for their dreams. Because like if you have, like you have said, like if nobody's dream, then you cannot go anywhere, because dreams are the only things by which you will achieve anything. So thank you very much, and I welcome Professor Prabhat and also you, as well as Khushigram's founder. So all the other our beloved participants, that they are here for celebrating Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's this birth anniversary. He was born in 15 October 1931 and died in a village called Dhanushkodi, Rameshwaram, Tamil Nadu, and died in Shillong, Meghalaya on 27th July 2015. And his passion was to interact with the student and to make them dreams. So दिस इज वेरी ब्यूटीफुल थिंग कि जो लास्ट टाइम भी जब उनकी डेथ हुई थी, उस टाइम भी वो बच्चों को मोटिवेट कर रहे थे। आई एम शिलोंग में वहाँ पे लेक्चर्स दे रहे थे जो यंग जनरेशन के स्टूडेंट्स हैं, तो वो उन्हें दिखा रहे थे भाई कैसे हम लोग एक छोटे से अब्दुल कलाम की ही आप बात कर लेंगे, छोटे से एक गांव से निकल के जो कि एक मतलब तमिलनाडु के बहुत ही इंटीरियर इलाके में था, वहां से निकल के देश के राष्ट्रपति बनने तक का जो सफर है वो उन्होंने तय करा। वो किस लिए तय करा? क्योंकि उन्होंने ड्रीम्स देखे थे। तो उन्हीं के ड्रीम्स पे कुछ कोटेशंस हैं जो कि मुझे बहुत अच्छी भी लगती हैं। जैसे उन्होंने कहा था कि ड्रीम ड्रीम ड्रीम, ड्रीम ट्रांसफॉर्म्स इनटू थॉट्स एंड थॉट्स रिजल्ट्स इनटू एक्शन। तो ये सब चीजें इतनी मतलब उनकी जो चीजें हैं उनकी इतनी अच्छी है कि हमें हमेशा ड्रीम ही देखने चाहिए और वो ड्रीम ही ट्रांसफॉर्म होते हैं इनटू एक्शंस में। उन्होंने एक ड्रीम के ऊपर एक और चीज कही थी कि ड्रीम आर नॉट दोज विच कम्स व्हाइल वी आर स्लीपिंग। मतलब ऐसी चीज ड्रीम्स नहीं है जो हम सोते हुए देखते हैं, बट ड्रीम्स आर दोज व्हेन यू डोंट स्लीप बिफोर फुलफिलिंग देम। जब तक कि वो पूरे ना हो जाए जब तक आप सो नहीं पाएंगे। तो ये इतनी अच्छी सोच थी जो कि आज भी आ, उनकी ट्रू है। वो कहते थे कि डिफिकल्टीज इन योर लाइफ डू नॉट कम टू डिस्ट्रॉय यू बट टू हेल्प यू रियलाइज योर हिडन पोटेंशियल एंड पावर। लेट्स डिफिकल्टीज नो दैट यू आर टू डिफरेंट एंड टू डिफिकल्ट। तो इतनी अच्छी सोच थी, इतनी अच्छी चीजें थी जो कि कलाम जी बोलते थे। और अब हम कुछ डिले ना करते हुए प्रोफेसर प्रभात जी को सुनेंगे। उससे पहले मैं बस छोटा सा नीव के बारे में बता देता हूँ कि नीव एक सोशल एजुकेशन एनरिचमेंट एक संस्था है जो कि आईटी के एलुमनाई के द्वारा 2018 में शुरू करी गई थी, जो कि गांव और जो स्लम एरियाज हैं वहाँ पे जो गरीब बच्चे रहते हैं, जो अनप्रिविलेज बच्चे रहते हैं, जो एजुकेशन से दूर हो जाते हैं, उनको एनरिच एजुकेशन प्रोवाइड करने का काम करती है। आज भी हम विद इन कोविड ड्यूरेशन में, जैसे कृष्णा ने बताया कि हम लोगों ने इतने सारे वेबिनार करे हैं साथ में कि जिसमें बहुत सारे मोटिवेशनल वेबिनार्स थे, कोविड से रिलेटेड वेबिनार थे, सब्जेक्ट से रिलेटेड वेबिनार थे, जिससे कि कोविड के ड्यूरेशन में भी हमें ऐसा ना लगे कि हम दुनिया से दूर हो गए हैं। और वो भी एक ड्रीम ही था जो कि कोविड में शुरू हुआ था कृष्णा का, कि बच्चों को मोटिवेट कैसे कर सकते हैं, उनको वो ड्रीम कैसे जगा सकते हैं। तो ये हमारे 8 सेंटर्स चल रहे हैं जो कि मेरठ, दिल्ली, एनसीआर में है। कुछ हमारा जैसे एमपी में है, आईटी हैदराबाद के साथ भी हम लोग कोलैबोरेट करते हैं। और हम लोग साथ के साथ क्या करते हैं, बच्चों को होली दिवाली सेलिब्रेशंस भी करते हैं, जिससे कि बच्चों को लगे कि हाँ भाई वो भी एक मेन स्ट्रीम में है। बेसिकली जो नीव का उद्देश्य है वो ये है कि भाई हम अगर बच्चे स्कूल नहीं पहुंच पा रहे हैं तो स्कूल को उनके पास आ जाना चाहिए, कि एजुकेशन उनके घर पे ही मिलनी चाहिए। तो हम लोग क्या करते हैं कि किसी भी गांव में जब जाते हैं या किसी भी स्लम एरिया में जाते हैं तो वहां पे पहले उनके जो पेरेंट्स हैं उनसे बातें करते हैं कि भाई आप क्यों बच्चों को स्कूल में नहीं भेज रहे हैं। अगर उन्हें कुछ फाइनेंशियल प्रॉब्लम होती है, कुछ और चीज भी होती है, तो हम लोग उनसे बात करके एक वहीं पे एक सेंटर स्थापित कर देते हैं जिसमें बच्चे शाम को 2 घंटे बैठ के अपना पढ़ाई करते हैं और साथ के साथ हम उन लोगों को एडमिशन भी रेगुलर स्कूल्स में करा देते हैं। तो ये नीव के बारे में था। और आज करीब 50,000 से ज्यादा लोग जो हैं इस वेबिनार्स के थ्रू नीव के साथ कनेक्ट हुए हैं और ड्रीम बी टुगेदर बी ड्रीम के साथ कनेक्ट हुए हैं। और आसपास के करीब 20-25 जो देश हैं उनके पार्टिसिपेंट हमारे वेबिनार्स में आज तक ज्वाइन करे हैं। तो बड़ा ही अच्छा लगता है कि जब हम लोग जो ये वेबिनार्स हैं वो इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे पहुंच चुके हैं। जैसे कि आज भी बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो कि ऑनलाइन यूट्यूब के माध्यम से ये हमारा वेबिनार देख रहे हैं। तो विदाउट एनी डिले आई इनवाइट लाइक कृष्णा त्रिवेदी टू इनवाइट प्रोफेसर झा, sorry, Prabhat ji, Krishna, over to you.
Thank you for your words, Updesh sir. I would like to start today's session with small question for Prabhat Ranjan sir. Probably your journey or whatever you have done till now is inspirational, sir. But as far as my like whatever I have learned from books, everything starts from a childhood dream. So if convenient to you, if in brief you can share your journey from childhood, like what you thought of doing in childhood and how things turned around and you did what you have already done till now, like your journey in brief. How you dreamt, what you dreamt in childhood, basically.
Okay, thank you, Krishna ji. Thank you, Ajit ji. Thank you, Verma ji. First of all, congratulations for the good work you're doing. Ajit ji always has been very energetic. We used to meet often in Delhi. Most of the time, events that he used to organize. I mean, two thoughts. The question you asked me about my journey. So I have a presentation on my journey to brain, okay, which covers my scientific journey. I could do that, or I could cover a document Technology Vision 2035, which follows Dr. Kalam's vision of Technology Vision 2020. So I was heading TIFAC in Delhi, and Dr. Kalam used to be its governing board chairman till 2001, 2000, I think 2000, yeah, 2093 to 2001, and then 2002 he became president. So I could cover the Technology Vision 2035 that followed the document. So which one would you prefer? You want to look at my journey or vision for the country, the dream for the country?
Sir, I want if you can start with your childhood dream, like
Okay.
what you had dreams in your childhood when you are around 15 or 20. What kind of thought you had, which made you did all this, which you have already done. Like you are amongst the first
Just
few persons in India who did research in nuclear fusion.
Okay.
I believe this is something which is very important for the energy sustenance of the world. So having these kind of things required a lot of courage and determination to go ahead. So it's like when you were doing your graduation or when you were in school in your 12th, what kind of thoughts you had. So
Okay.
if you can start from there and then we can proceed with things that you are doing now.
Sure, sure. Ajit ji was saying something, I think.
so basically all. We want to hear all from you.
Okay, okay. Okay, so I will not use any presentation. My childhood started from a municipal school, a Jobri, one hat school, municipal school, which was in a place called Betia in Bihar. My father used to be judicial minister. He used to make me cross the road, put it into that Jobri. And that is how my schooling started. Till class 5, I was never having a bench or chair to sit. So I used to sit on the floor. And the system was that when you go to the school, the person who comes first, the child who comes first cleans the place so that he or she can sit there. At age of 10, I went to a school called Netarhat School. This is near Ranchi. It's a Gurukula style school. It's at a height of 3,700 feet height. And we used to live in ashram. So the Gurukula style. We used to clean dishes, clean toilets, clean floors. That was our routine every single day. Around age of 12, I believe, is when I decided that I wanted to become a scientist. So it was not at 15, 20 years. It was the age of 12 that I decided to become scientist. I never changed my mind. I'm a scientist today also. From Netarhat School, I went to IIT Kharagpur. Just to tell you about how I kept my dream was that I wanted admission in physics. That time we used to have counseling was done in physical mode. There was no online system there. So when I went to take admission in Kharagpur, I wanted physics. And they were not giving physics. They were saying that you're making mistake, you do not know, you are making mistake, take engineering. I was insisting that give me physics. They called my father, this boy is making mistake, he should take engineering. And I was insisting on physics. So then they said, okay, we'll do one thing, we'll put you in electrical engineering. And later on, if you want to change to physics, you can change to physics, but vice versa, I will not do. So I said, okay, let me get out of this place. So gave me admission in electrical engineering. And this is very close to physics. When I came back to do classes, the very first day I went and said that please change me to physics. So I insisted on doing a physics, in spite of all the, even IITs were not allowing me to do physics. I went to Delhi University. And then I was working on astrophysics and black holes and cosmology and so on. That was my specialization. I worked with Dr. Naldikar during 81 summer. I was National Science Talent Research Scholar as well. I got admission in Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley, which was #1 in the world in physics. on the basis of my interest in astrophysics and so on. The day I was leaving the country, it's there on my blog also I've written, the day I was leaving the country, I was sitting in JNU. I'm sure Ajit would have visited 100 times in JNU campus. We were all waiting for the first flight of my life, which I had never had the opportunity to fly at that time. It was a flight to Japan. From Japan, I had to take next day flight to San Francisco. A lot of relatives have come, and relatives, friends had come. My parents were there. One of my uncle, who had actually, my maternal uncle, who had given half the ticket cost, 6,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees he had given. He had also come to see me off. He asked me this question: what kind of research you are going to do? At that particular moment at midnight, sometime sitting in JNU boundary, we did not have a space inside to be in a hostel because there were 20, 30 of us. We were all sitting in the boundary of JNU. Suddenly something went through my mind, that how will astrophysics help my country? And without thinking, without any prior planning, I responded to him that either I would work in nuclear fusion or in space physics, because I suddenly felt that that was something that is going to be helping the country and not astrophysics at that time. And I had no idea about whether in India nuclear fusion work is being done or what is the requirement. And even in Delhi University, there were options like plasma physics, which would have been appropriate for nuclear fusion. I never bothered about that. So suddenly at that moment, at midnight when I was leaving the country, this thought came to mind in response to a question. And then I became the first PhD from this country to do PhD in nuclear fusion at Berkeley. And I came back to India right after my PhD was over, in 1986. And I did not wait for a single day to be staying back in US. When you go to US, for example, to do PhD, many people think, okay, let me stay for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, let me make some money or let me get some more experience and then I'll come back. They never come back. But I decided that within a week's time, I packed my bag and came back. Thankfully, my family also was okay with it. So we all came back. And when I came back, India, fortunately, just the nuclear fusion work had started. So 1986, I came back. 1983, I think 1983, Institute of Plasma Research was set up in Gandhinagar, which is main nuclear fusion center. And in Calcutta, in Saha Institute of Nuclear Physics, a nuclear fusion program was also set up as part of plasma physics section funded by Department of Atomic Energy. So I joined at a very early stage. None of us had any experience as such. Even I had mostly what I'd done was computer simulation using the fastest computer of the world. When I came back to India, there was no computer in Science Institute. The only computer I had was a computer that I had carried from US, a personal computer. And from there, my journey in nuclear fusion started, which continued full time till 2002, 9 years at Science Institute of Nuclear Physics, 7 years in Gandhinagar. During that period, 2 nuclear fusion reactors were built in country. Both of them, I was responsible to make them operational. I'm not going to go into details. There's a lot of blogs that I've written on these, and hopefully that will be part of a book. After that, I moved to Dhirubhai Ambani Institute. I worked on many projects, including India's moon mission. I did work on disability sector. I worked on agriculture, wildlife tracking, and many others. And then I moved. I was there for about 11 years, and then I moved to Delhi to head India's technology think tank, TIFAD, where actually we prepared this document, Technology Vision 2035. And this was the follow-up of Dr. Kalam's document of Technology Vision 2020. I would like to mention that when I went to Delhi in 2013, since today is Dr. Kalam's birthday, I requested for an appointment, and very quickly when he came back to Delhi from somewhere, he called me. And I had about 10-15 minutes meeting with him. He was sitting in the corner of the room. That it was when you get inside that room, it's difficult to notice where he was. It was just in a corner. I sat with him. He asked me about my background and so on. And then something very interesting he told me. He told me that it is still 7 years to 2020. Make sure that we can achieve the vision of Technology Vision 2020. That was the kind of faith he had with the organization TIFAC that I was heading. But by that time, we were working on Technology Vision 2035. I'll come back to this point later on. But one thing that I decided when I came back from US, that I'm not going to worry about paper publication. I'm not going to try to worry about how many papers I can count, what is my length of CV. I said that problem is more important, country is more important, society is more important, not how many papers or publications and other things are there. So I focused on problems that faces country, problems that faces humanity, problems that faces society. So most of my life I have worked on problems. Most of them I may not know. I may not have any idea about that. When I got into disability sector or when I got to the moon mission, I absolutely had no idea about moon mission and so on. But then the point was that if something has to be done, it has to be done. It's not my knowledge that is important. Coming back from the point that Krishnaji made was that about nuclear fusion work, we received a request from Silicon Valley on October 30th, 2020, right after the first wave of COVID. I was seeing that nuclear fusion work is advancing because of technological changes that are happening. I was in TIFAC. I was trying to create awareness among government systems to make sure that India does not fall back. So I was very surprised when they requested from Silicon Valley, Dr. Akash, saying that please, can we start a nuclear fusion program and I'm going to fund it. I was very reluctant because it requires a lot of money. It's a task that is impossible because till now nobody has been able to commercialize. But he kept on insisting. That is his insistence. I started the project called Project Sunlayan, and we started hiring people. It was on December 3, 2020, that is Bihar Science Conference. Dr. Kakotkar was chief guest. I announced this project. We hired people, started to hire people and make sure that we can do. If I get some time, I'll talk about that project. It's very critical for the whole country in the world, actually. And we started the project. Unfortunately, during this year, when the Ukraine war started, the cryptocurrency started to fall down, and the investors' money started to, have problems because of fallen thing. So the project had to be stopped. It is very surprising that today we are talking. Yesterday night, we had a call from him that can we restart the project? Now he's been able to generate enough revenue to restart the project. So it's a very happy day for me to talk about this. But not only there's more actually, because today I had a meeting where a group of global investors, we had a discussion. They want to set up $100 million techno-commercial center in my university. I'm still not able to dream even that, but I'm going to, this is my second meeting with them, and I will be meeting them in Delhi maybe on October 29th or 30th. And it's what change I'm seeing. And actually, this is not one investor. I had another investor come and meet me from Bangalore who has raised about $20 billion, not take his name. And I have another investor, in fact, in Delhi. I'm going to meet her also. So suddenly, it's the global investors which are looking towards India to invest in this. And this $100 million investment, the gentleman told me that India will support inventors with very little money and very little time. So they want to enlarge the funnel and give a long pipe so that we can work on larger projects. And I believe this is the time for India to move ahead and all dreamers to achieve this their dreams. Thank you.
It's really inspiring, and especially the things that you mentioned in last, that because of few reasons that you were not able to continue with the nuclear fusion plant, but we are happy that just yesterday you received some positive news about that. Sir, just putting a few questions from the things that you have told. Like when you are 12, आपने decision लिया कि you wanted to become scientist. Just because we work with students from 9 to 12th class age group. So asking few basic questions. Normally कोई भी अपनी जर्नी में इसी एज पे या फिर नॉर्मली ड्रीम देखता है कि आई वांटेड टू बिकम अ स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन या फिर आई वांटेड टू डू समथिंग गुड, आई वांटेड टू हेल्प पीपल. These are few very common things that every individual does. according to you, what are the positive things or what are the supports that you have received around you, the environment around you, that helped you to basically do whatever you have imagined when you were 12? Basically, there were few supports that you must have received, or even your personal determination. Because I believe all this that you have said in 4 or 5 minutes regarding your long journey required a lot of courage, because there must be few times when you have must have felt that it is not possible and I must change my mind. Might be few instances, but yes, that determination must be there. So in your journey, what are the positive things about your journey, or what are the things that that basically helped you to do whatever you was able to do? Psychological things, like whatever the environment around you, your friend circle, your teachers, any kind of motivation that you had.
So when I was young, my younger brother was, the age difference very less, and I had lost my grandfather at very early age. I never saw him actually. He was a freedom fighter, and so my grandmother used to take care of me, and my mother used to take care of younger brother. And she used to tell me that my nose is little long, so I always see in one direction. So I never, I never looked around here and there. So my direction was very clear where I wanted to go. And from age of 10, when I went out of home to be in a Gurukul style Netrahati school, it was a fantastic school. Ajit is probably familiar. I'm not sure how many of you have heard of that. But I was very independent from childhood. I never went back.
Just describe a little bit about the school also.
Okay, so Netrahati school was started after independence to create change makers for the society. Started in 1954 formally. This place called Netat, which was considered as a hill station. There was a governor's house there. And from Ranchi, it's about 156 kilometers by road. It's about 2,000 feet above Ranchi. And so the school had started in 1954. It attracted talents from across Bihar, undivided Bihar at that time. There used to be a very strong competition, first at sub-divisional level, then at divisional level. There used to be interviews at divisional level, a psychological test, medical test, and all of these. Based on that, 60 students were selected, where the fees of the students was decided by the income of the parents. But 50% of the students used to study their fee, whose income was below certain level. And then as you had higher income level, the fee was decided based on that. Everything was covered by school, including the dress, the books, the shoes, everything, clothes, everything was covered by school. You didn't have to bring anything from home. Everybody was same. It didn't matter what background you came from. Everybody had to do all the things that we had to do: cleaning toilets, cleaning floors, cleaning dishes, everything everybody had to do. We did not know who was from which caste, who was from which background. None of us, we used to live together. Even those who were not paying fare, they were paid given tickets to go back home also. So talent was the only criteria, not the thing. So that has groomed large number of students who have served within India, outside India, in different positions. And they're all were dreamers actually. So it's very important. Aditi asked me to explain this. Later on, as the Bihar and Jharkhand were separated out, now the Jharkhand students go there. So coming back to Netrahat, I was there, and I never asked my father or mother that what I'm going to do. I used to do it and then tell them, and they never questioned me in this. That was very important. That never questioned me that okay, you're doing something right or wrong. They always supported me. That was very important. Second point was that my determination that I'm going to work on problems and not on paper publication. Research is to be driven by problems. And I took that courageous decision knowing very well that I may suffer. I may not get promotion. I may not get good salary. I may not get awards. Of course, Ajit ji has given an award to me, but I think Samaj Ratna Award you are given in 2013. But I never worried about those things. The problems were important than me or anybody else. And that has kept me going where I decided that this. So, in fact, I'll tell you an incident from Calcutta. I was at Science Institute of Nuclear Physics, and I was a computer modeling person. As I mentioned, that I was working on fastest computer of the world in US. I came back to India. There was nothing, no computer in the Science Institute. I had a personal computer. That was the only thing. I went around procuring computers. I got into experiments because my modeling was not going to make the reactor work. So I had to get into experiments. And finally, when I got it to work around year 1990 or so, I was giving a talk to the scientists there in the institute. At the end of my talk, a scientist asked me this question: that so what? Whatever you told, how does it matter? How many papers have you published? My answer was that even if I publish 0 paper and I can achieve nuclear fusion, that I would be very, very satisfied. So the problem is important, not the paper publication. Later on, he went and complained to director that this fellow doesn't want to publish papers. Director asked me that, okay, what is he saying? I told him that this is what I've said, that the problem of nuclear fusion is more important than papers. I'm not saying that I'm not publishing papers. Papers come out of that is fine. But even if I can do 0 papers and still achieve nuclear fusion, that is perfectly fine. So that was the kind of challenge I had. And of course, it meant that I had to get into everything. If you read some of my blogs, when I came to Gandhinagar in 95, because the nuclear fusion reactor was not working for about 6 years, 89 to 95, I got it working in 5 days. And then the kind of problems that I had to solve, they had nothing to do with physics. I had to, in fact, one blog I have written about how I had seen in a village how hand pump was installed. And I used that technology to solve, technology, if you call it, which our people used to install those pumps, hand pumps, which I had seen. I used that techniques to actually solve a major problem that was affecting 80% discharges to fail. So my determination was that doesn't matter that I'm not going to sit on chair in a room. I will work on the ground, and whatever is needed to be done for the reactor to work, it must be done. And just like Chandrayaan mission was asked to actually design a system that's after landing on the moon, everything that has to be done should be done by that. I was not even working the space so much. I was in a story on that also. So the focus was always on problems, not my knowledge, not my credibility, not my paper publication, not my salary, but the problem. I think that's what I would say. I think you're mute.
So for the things that you have shared, one more question that I would like to ask. When you said that you are willing to take risk regarding your salary, regarding your promotion and all, probably all dreamers who are determined will do that. But that one constraint that generally comes up is your family responsibility and people around you. Like in some way, you need to take care of few other things as well. So could you please just also share insight about how your family, your people who are in a way dependent on you, reacted to your views, like taking this risk of not getting, because probably people around you wanted to have a safe path for you because they care about you. They don't want you to take that risk because probably like most people want that their son should have a safe life. It's like there are two options. You can either be on a luxury car and go for a ride of 10 kilometers, or either you can walk for a 10-kilometer and then do something great. So probably normally majority of people will select 10-kilometer by car because that's a risk-free path. So what's the perception of people around you, your family members and people dependent on you, your children's or your wife or your, especially you have mentioned that your parents are very supportive and they want you to do whatever you feel like, but other people basically, if you can share that insight as well.
So I'm thankful to all my family members, whether it is my parents, my brothers, my wife, my daughter. I have only one daughter, for supporting me, believing in me. They did not question me. They knew I'm a pagal person, but they believe that pagals can only change the world. so, so, so it's not a normal person who can take decisions. See what you are saying. is that 10 kilometers by car is what a normal person will do. Will consider that it is a safe thing to do. But I was always making sure that we do the right thing that needs to be done rather than what I can do. So the point is that there are certain things you can do. So if you look in India, for example, most of the research scholars, for example, if they do research, they continue doing the same thing whole life because they think they have become expert of that. I tell myself that I'm not expert of anything. So I can do anything I like because I'm not expert in anything. I don't have to decide myself if this is my expertise, so I need to only work in that area. So problems are bigger than me. I would give an example from my daughter's, my relations with my daughter. When I was, she was small, young, she was studying class 4 or 5. She would come to me for asking something from her class. And after maybe 2, 3 minutes, you run away saying that you can't teach me because my teacher teaches better. The reason was that I was not a father who would be every day spending time with her teaching what she was. I wanted her to be independent as well. It was only in 11th when she came. In fact, I was in Gandhinagar. She moved to DPS RK where we had this Reliance India Mobile at that time. So we were as part of Reliance University, Dhirubhai Amman Institute in Gandhinagar. So we had purchased Reliance Mobiles. Those it's called Reliance India Mobile. So she had one and I had one. And then the physics book that she was studying, Resting Holiday, and I was very familiar. So we started to interact more at that time when she was in 11th. And she went to college. At that time, she was very connected to me because we could match at the same level. And then something very interesting happened. She joined a company in Bangalore after her graduation in computer science. She was a gold medalist. And for 1 year, she enjoyed very much. She said that she was getting pay raise, promotions, perks, all kind of things. After about a year or so, she said that now I'm getting bored because I'm not learning new things. They're putting us to task with whatever they've learned. And that's perfectly okay. Companies do that. That's the purpose of the training. Then she said that I'm going to actually now go for PhD. I said, okay, fine. You do PhD, apply. When you get a right, admission, you can, leave your job and go. Next day, she called me and saying that I'm leaving my job. I'm resigning. I said, I told her that, is there any problem? Why are you resigning? She said that, no, now that I'm going to do PhD, I will better work on research projects, even if I get no money, rather than continuing the industry. I said, okay, fine. I was working on Chandrayaan mission at that time. I used to go frequently to Bangalore. So I took her to Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, to let her meet some of my friends there and asked her that, do you want to work with them? She said, no. She had worked in IIT Bombay for some time as an intern. I said that, you want to go to IIT Bombay? She said, no. So I said that, what the hell? It means you are the top institutes of the country, IISc, IIT, you don't want to go. What do you want to do? She said that I want to do the work you are doing. I want to join you. So she came back after, I think, 8 years of living home. She came back to join me in Gandhinagar. She worked on Chandrayaan mission. She worked on disability sector. And then she did wonderful. And actually, she got very good offers from US. She went to do PhD in US. And so that relationship I just told you about with my daughter, that in the early stage, she was running away from me, and later stage, our wavelengths came at the same level. And that's the kind of support I would say that my family members gave. They never questioned my pagalpan, I should say, my desire to do what I want to do. And they were never worried about money and other things, the comfort of the life. US, when I came back from US to India, it was a big change at that time in 1986. Today, it's not the case. Today, in fact, in India, we are more comfortable. I go to US. My daughter is in US right now. I'll be going next month or after a month. Life is tougher there. Today, life is better in India to young people who are listening to me. But that time it was difficult, phone, vehicle, nothing was there. I used to have a bicycle I purchased. I used to go from my house to the institute, or in the initial stage, I had to travel by local trains in Calcutta to spend 3 hours every day going back and forth. But compared to US life, where we had vehicles, phones, and everything, but everybody, they all were willing to accept the changes that were there. and never questioned me. But of course, as I said, that I've been very satisfied with what I've been able to do, and so has been my family members. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing the insight. One more question I would like to put after that. Probably this is the last thing because I believe we have time constraint as well. Uh, like the things that I have asked you were probably when you were dreaming, how you dream, how your family supported. Now I believe you are in a position where you can basically help people who are dreaming. Okay. So my question is like the best part. The reason I thought of hosting this session today because I am a physics student. I have been in Kota, Rajasthan for 10 years. I learned from the best of teachers physics basically. So, and I always relate human intelligence, human behavior, because one thing that I learned in physics is universe has symmetry in it. So if you can observe symmetry, you can try to solve many problems. So this question is little bit related to physics as well. In Carnot cycle, Carnot engine, we have this ideal efficiency of 100%. So let's just assume that we have 100 students who are dreaming big. And today, the kind of environment we have in our country, I believe around 100 students, only 6 or 7, probably 6%, 7% efficiency of people achieving their dream or what are able to do what they thought of. So this is what also read in Kalam's book, that it is elder people responsibility that we support younger ones aspiration and dream, also sometimes ensure that they are not being destroyed. It's like if अगर एक young sapling है तो वी बिलीव सैपलिंग भी ग्रो कर रहा है लेकिन उसको हमें भी थोड़ी प्रोटेक्शन देना पड़ता है. तो एज अ पॉलिसी मेकर और somebody who has that influence, who can shape the young generation, what are the measures that government should take, universities should take, or educationists should take so that young dreamers, the efficiency of people, like if there are 100 people, it should not be that 90% people should basically not able to follow their dream because of various constraints. What kind of things, policy measures, universities, educationists, or people working in social services like Updesh Verma sir can take so that this efficiency, this number of people who are following their dream, or because it should like it's good that we are saying in mockery that people who are mad change the world, but if we need to be mad always just to follow the path that we wanted to take, actually decrease the number of efficiency. It's out of 100 people, not everybody has this courage to be okay with calling themselves mad and follow their path, follow their dream. So what are the measures that as a policy maker or as an educationist we or government should take to increase the number of people who can follow their dream, follow their passion? Because one of your videos on YouTube, I have seen that you have quoted especially for the suggestion to student, the student must follow their passion. But as policy maker or as educationist, what are the things that we as an elder need to do to ensure that people or the student can follow their passion? The kind of protection that we need to take.
I will first repeat that statement that you talked about in Eureka interview that given Raj Sabha TV on YouTube. The last part that you were quoting, I would like to repeat first that for all the listeners actually. What I had said was that today's generation has a choice of following their passion, whatever it be. But whatever they do, they should be best in the world. They should not take second this thing. This is an important point. This I've repeated several times recently. I think 1 or 2 days ago, World International Students' Day was there. That time also repeated the same message. The point coming back to the government, the society at large. First, I would say start from family. I would start from family. That the family has to actually be supportive of the children, what their dreams are. And in this, actually, I work on brain also. And there's a theory of multiple intelligence. We need to look at each child's intelligences, which ones are more prominent, and that is where their career choices, learning styles should matter. So society, the family, many times it happens, the parents, their dream, they try to transfer to their children. I wanted to become a doctor, I could not, so my son or daughter should become doctor. So that is completely wrong. Don't live your life through your children's life. In terms of government, actually, I have been part of government. I've been out of government. I've been part of government. What I've noticed is that government tries to always follow a very well-defined path because they don't try to give flexibility. Our system need to be flexible in the sense that failure should be accepted. So I will give you, for example, when I was joining TIFAC, I started looking around for details about TIFAC to understand more about the organization. And I found that there was a scheme of TIFAC in which they used to fund individual innovators, not organizations, not companies. And when they funded, there were many of them who failed. And the audit people kept questioning TIFAC why they have failed, that money should come back. So TIFAC responded saying that we spent 36 crore rupees, and through the successful ones, we have got 56 crores back. So don't ask me why every single person did not succeed. So a normal venture capitalist who funds, they know that if you fund 10 in a project, out of that maybe 2 might be successful, 8 may fail. They would have made their money. But government system said that nobody should fail. And that is a wrong question for government to ask. Second thing they do is that, in fact, this is I've just recently also given a statement that the government is more focused on spending money in R&D also. I was part of many of the schemes that I had designed, many things I had funded through TIFAC also, where the focus is on spending of money, not on the outcome. So let's not focus on spending of money being the thing, let's not focus on that every project will succeed, because failures have to be accepted. Government, that is very important. And last point I will make is that something I call Sarmaji Varmaji syndrome. I hope any Sarmaji Varmaji on this show does not mind. It's just a common name that I give example. So suppose two neighbors are there, Sarmaji Varmaji. Okay. Sarmaji will tell their children that Varmaji children are doing better than you. And Varmaji tells Sarmaji children are doing better. So what we try to do from childhood, we create a competitive environment among the children rather than cooperative spirit. So Sam Pitroda said once that if you take one Indian, he or she will do more work than 10 Americans. But put 10 Indians together, he or she will do less than work than one American. I mean, that group will do less work. So actually, from childhood, we need to create cooperative spirit among the children and not competitive spirit, so that we work together as a country, as a society, as a nation. Thank you.
Really inspiring word, and probably I believe if the things that you have said, especially that we must also respect failures, and government also should take responsibility of it. This is something which is very important. With this, I would like to end my questions, and now I would like to basically ask you to share the presentation if possible, and if time permits, you can just about that technology vision 2035 document.
How much time do I have?
Like you are probably you can speak around 20 minutes more if your time permits you.
Okay. So to the audience, actually, this is the document Technology Vision 2035. This was released, Prime Minister wrote the forward, I'll talk about that, and launched it. And this is supported by 12 roadmaps to achieve this vision for the country. Vision is like a dream. Okay. So, but I would also like to show one more book here, Strategic Challenges, India in 2030. I've written a book chapter on this, on technology, which actually covers military as well as civilian technology, important for the country's security in coming decades. I would say this has just been released, just the end of September. To those of us there on Amazon, I think it's a very important message in that for people, because the kind of technology that is happening, just to give you one sentence out of this, the borders are no longer our, neighbors are no longer our enemies, and the threat can come from anywhere in the world. So let me try to share this technology vision. Okay. I have to be made a co-host or something to share. Can somebody permit me?
Okay, sir. Just a minute, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Now you can present. You can share, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. It is visible. Visible.
Okay, I'm changing my slide. Just tell me if you can still see it.
Yeah, it's perfect, sir.
Oh, fine. So this all work was done in TIFAC, and TIFAC is set up as a technology think tank for the country. It started in 1988, and Dr. Kalam was its chairman from 93 to 2001. And so during his tenure, and Dr. Y.S. Rajan was my predecessor as head of organization. Dr. Kalam was governing board chairman. So 1996 Technology Vision 2020 was done. There's a book by Dr. Kalam and Dr. Y.S. Rajan, India Vision 2020. That's a very popular book. And during my tenure, Dr. Kakotkar was heading the organization. So this document was released. In fact, it is, if you can see the bottom of this, we dedicated this to Dr. Kalam's memory when in 95, I think, I believe 27 July that we lost him. And I went to pay my last respect to him. In fact, I would like to share that on 27 July 2019, his family members invited me to come to his house in Rameswaram, House of Kalam, as a guest of honor. Dr. Kalam, when we lost him in 27th July, next day we had a condolence meet in TIFAC. I had announced something, that's one of my dreams, is that Dr. Kalam used to love to interact with children. He probably has the Guinness Book of World Record in number of students that he interacted with. I said that next generation of children should not miss Dr. Kalam. So I announced a project on recreating Dr. Kalam, which will be a holographic replica of him, and students will be able to interact with him the way they used to interact with him when he was alive. So while his biological body may not be with us, but his digital body will be with us forever. I'm working this project. Hopefully someday we will complete that. So as Dr. Kalam said, a vision is not a project report or a plan target. It's an articulation of the desired end results in broader terms. So Technology Vision 2035 document was launched by Prime Minister. He wrote the foreword on January 3, 2016 at Indian Science Congress. But I'd like to share something here, that when we're preparing this document, in fact, even before I formally joined TIFAC, we first called all the top scientists of the country to talk about what they wanted India to be in 2035. All of them failed. All of them failed because they only talked about their own areas of interest. Nobody talked about the country. So then we went to college students, school students, asked them what they want their India to be in 2035. It was those young people who were more open, who talked about their dreams. So this whole document is actually a collection of desires and aspirations and dreams of young people of the country that we have captured in this document. When we were preparing this document, the first question that I asked my scientists is that the Technology Vision 2020 that was prepared during Dr. Kalam's chairmanship, how are we doing? How is the country doing with respect to that? I did not have an answer because nobody had bothered to look at that. And it was Dr. Kalam who had told me that let's make sure that we achieve the vision in next 7 years when I met him in 2013. So I said that we must retrospect as to where do we stand with respect to that vision. And we divided India into 4 different groups: galloping India, cantering India, trotting India, and walking India, comparing with horses' motion. Galloping India means those areas where India has galloped beyond our imagination, the imagination that we had done, the dream that we had seen for the country in 1996. 3 areas in the middle, you will not be able to see the letters properly. It's about atomic energy, space, and missile sectors. The top is the telecom sector or ICT sector, and the bottom is biotechnology, life sciences sector. These are the areas where we have galloped beyond imagination. Walking India, the last part, the rightmost part, is the bad story. There actually, if you see the bottom, it's the waterways, it says, and there's advanced sensors and the healthcare. So these areas we had pointed out the progress of the country with respect to the dream that Dr. Kalam and others had seen for the country. I will come back to this point later on. But the waterways, when we pointed out in this document, Nitin Gadkari took the challenge, and actually out of 111 waterways that were planned, 13 had become operational by 2018. This is a slide showing National Waterways 1 connecting Haldia to Varanasi, which became operational in 2018. It goes through Patna. National Waterways 2 came and so on in Brahmaputra, and 13 were ready, and then many more might have been ready by now. When we're preparing this document, the question that we asked ourselves, what should be the objective for designing India's future? It was like we're designing India's future based on the dreams that our young people had seen. Should we talk about India becoming a 42 trillion economy by 2050? Should we talk about rich and poor? Should we try to define what should be the money? We decided we'll not talk about money at all. What we decided, we'll talk about quality of life. So when we compare Technology Vision 2020 and Technology Vision 2035, we made a major shift. Major shift was Technology Vision 2020 was focused on developing India as a country. So Dr. Kalam told me about that we must make sure that India is developed. That is the message that he repeated many times. Last I heard him in 2015 in Delhi in an event was I was going to speak right after his session. But in Technology Vision 2035, we changed the focus. We moved from India to Indians. We say that citizens are more important than the country. GDP is less important than quality of life of each citizen because GDP of a country can increase, but quality of life of a person can reduce. A poor can become poorer and rich can become richer. We said we focus on quality of life of each Indian. That was a major shift from India to Indians. And you have to think about it to understand this difference. We focus on Indians, we focus on our needs. We did not try to compare India with any other countries in the document. You will not see any comparison with China, US, or others. We focus on our needs. Indians in 2035 and our needs. I will leave out these details. We try to divide Indians into various groups. I don't have time to go into those details. Looked at each of their requirements, and we had a vision statement for and there's a vision statement. I will leave out these details. But this picture actually demonstrates is this young girl looking ahead, is her dream that we try to capture in this document. It talks about life in 2030, what kind of life the young people wanted them to be. It's in infographics. We divided the quality of life. We try to define them by 12 prerogatives we called. The 6 on the top are individual prerogatives and 6 on the bottom collective. For example, clean air and potable water and so on. Each of these 12 prerogatives, we define certain broad targets for the country and certain focused targets for the country. I would not have time to go into details of these. So like clean air and potable water, food and nutritional security, universal healthcare and public hygiene. Just to give you a couple of examples, for example, we said that average life expectancy should be 80 years at birth. I'm just writing a blog on this. And I'm seeing that India is slipping behind this target actually. Similarly, maternal mortality rate should not be more than 15 per 100,000 or under 5 mortality rate of not more than 6 per 1,000. I'm right now doing calculations to find out how we are doing so that we don't slip behind these targets. 24/7 energy, decent habitat, quality education, livelihood, and creative opportunities. And actually, we had talked about first point is to achieve 100% literacy, including operating knowledge of devices, instruments, and machine. And we saw that how important it became in COVID era. We had also talked about teachers. There are a lot of teachers in this. We say that teachers will remain central to education. However, their role would change. They would become navigators and pathfinders, counselors, and confidants. The role of teacher will no longer be sage on the stage. It will be guide on the side. Because knowledge today can be learned from many, many sources. Teacher is not the only source of knowledge. And that is something that all teachers have to realize. That sometimes students may know more than them and that they have to accept that. And if a student asks a question to a teacher and the teacher does not know, don't try to shut down the student. Tell him that, okay, I'll come by him or her, I'll come back to you later on after I've understood this. So we should be willing to accept that we may have knowledge less than a student. That is very important. The role of teacher is very different now. We talked about safe and speedy mobility. For example, we said that no place should be more than 3 hours away from district headquarters, 5 hours from state capital, and 8 hours away from national capital. So this is not talking about kilometers road, that 1 lakh kilometer, 2 lakh kilometers. It's talking about every person, their life matters, and is focused on that. I'll leave out these details: public safety, national security, culture, diversity, and vibrancy. This was very important, actually. We have talked about this several times. Diversity, culture, and languages is the key defining feature of India, and cultural diversity is national asset and power multiplier. So we have talked about India's strength lies in diversity and the vibrancy. And we have said that we would like India to be as advanced as possible technologically, but as rooted as possible culturally. It's very important. Technologically, we should be using as advanced technology as possible, but culturally, we should remain rooted. We should not, give up our ground. We should put our heads above the cloud, but our feet should be grounded. And Gandhiji also said that, let my windows be open. I want wind to flow from any direction, but my feet should be grounded. That's very important, that we remain focused on our culture, our language, our food, and so on. We talked about transparent, effective governance, disaster and climate resilience, eco-friendly conservation of natural resources. Each of these prerogatives, we had a technology table. Technology table has 4 columns. The leftmost column that you see is technology which is readily deployable. That means technology is available off the shelf, or it can be with little modification, can be used within the country. The second column is technology which needs to go from lab to field. This is India's greatest weakness, where most of the work we do remains within the lab because we are happy with the publication and so on, and that's the end of it. The third column is technology which needs targeted development, like what we have done in Chandrayaan mission or Mars mission and so on, Mangalyaan, Chandrayaan, and many other things where we have succeeded. We have galloped, India's galloped. We put about 60 technologies that we wanted to have targeted research. Niti Aayog took about 20 of them to carry forward. We're supporting them. The last column, where you probably only see one dot here, one bullet point, is technology which is in imagination. We thought those technologies which may happen, may not happen, may take 15, 20, 30 years time, we put those technology. But what was interesting was that when we're doing this, we found that many of the technologies that we were even preparing the document, even before we could give it to Prime Minister's office for his writing a forward, some of them started to happen. So technology imagination is very important for dreams of young people here. And I'll try to show you a few of these examples. Some of you might have become familiar. Like you have seen, the drones started to become very important. We might be having a flying car project in my campus with the innovator who has developed a prototype. Autonomous cars, this has become very important. These are autonomous bus, actually, self-driving bus. Hyperloop technology started. When we mentioned this in document, Mr. Nitin Gadkari met Elon Musk. Hyperloop can move you at a speed of 1,200 kilometers per hour. Now, of course, people may be knowing by 2013. Many people did not know. Navi Mumbai to Pune, there is a plan of Hyperloop. Now, Chennai to Bangalore, Amravati to Vijayawada. Amravati to Vijayawada is about 42 kilometers. It can cover in 6 minutes only. If those of living in Delhi, actually, you can imagine if going from Noida to Gurgaon, it may take you 2 hours and sometimes even longer. So the Hyperloop can move in about 6 minutes time. There's another concept of hyper chariot. I will leave out this, but it's very interesting actually, because the gentleman who developed this concept, he lives in Los Angeles. He says, I want to see Agra, Taj Mahal in Agra. I should be able to travel in 2 hours from Los Angeles to Agra and come back after seeing that. In fact, he took this example of Taj Mahal in Agra only. This is education sector, where we have seen augmented reality, virtual reality, and holography becoming very, very important in education sector. And this is India's actually opportunity to make a mark across the country. Just like the IT boom that happened, this is the time for this to happen. So augmented reality, virtual reality, and holography is very important for education sector. Robots are becoming an important part, right? This is a particular robot that can help you in kitchen, clean dishes and clean things. Personally, of course, I just said that I have studied in a Gurukul style school where I had to do this. For me, nothing is bad for me. Everything is acceptable. And we saw that in COVID, when suddenly everybody do their work themselves. For me, it was routine. 3D printing of houses and other things become very important. I'm happy to tell you that I'm also chairing a committee of AICT scheme is called Idea Lab, through which we are trying to set up these digital fabrication facility across the country. I call it digital fabrication movement. Those of you interested can read my blog on this. This is a 3D printed house. Now, India also 3D printing of houses has started, and it is now growing up in a big way. We have been training people across the country. This is vertical farming. Without it is can grow 40 to 300 times more crops without using sunlight, without using soil. So actually, even when you have a soil which cannot grow anything, you can use that land to grow this, and 40 to 300 times more crop you can grow in the same area, and you can save 90% of water, and it requires no pesticide and so on. So it is very useful. It's also called urban farming. India also it has started. Earlier, I used to talk about only 2-3 places like Singapore, Japan, and US. Now, in India also, we are seeing this happening at many places. Artificial leaves that can convert sunlight and carbon dioxide into fuel more efficiently than a normal leaf. This is talking about a movie scene where a lady robot develops consciousness. Are we close to that? I think there are some news is talking about this, and by 2025 we may come to know whether robots can become conscious or not. In fact, I had an event in Delhi on this earlier in 2017. This is talking about body and machine combining together. This is, for example, exoskeleton. That's very important. I've talked about my book on a strategic challenge also, where soldiers may be able to carry much more weight and more weapons using exoskeleton, and they can run at a much higher speed than was possible otherwise. For example, this is to help lift weight and so on. So, for example, with a battery battery that is charged, coolie can lift weight for 8 hours without much pressure on his or her body. So, exoskeleton. This is actually a situation that I must tell about. It's very important for the young people to know. Between Mars and Jupiter, there's an asteroid belt. Asteroid belt has so much wealth that if you divide among all the people on the Earth, everyone will get $100 billion. For example, this space rock is valued $10,000 quadrillion, not billion, $10,000 quadrillion. And so we are seeing a space race happening. One of the reasons is the exploitation of this asteroid belt. So let me leave out the other details. And I had put 10 grand challenges for the country. I'll just read out the first one. It says guaranteeing nutritional security and eliminating female and child anemia. 60 to 70% women in the country are anemic. 87% pregnant women are anemic. 1/3 to 1/4 children are anemic. We have tried to work on this for last several decades with not much success. So after we brought this grand challenge number one, Indian government started 2 schemes, one called Anemia Mukt Bharat and second Nutrition India. From this one sentence, 2 major schemes the government started. I will also read out the number 7 grand challenge, taking the railway to Leh and Tawang. Both of these projects started, and in Northeast, along with Tawang, 2 more similar railway projects were started. So whatever we have done, many of these have started to happen in the country. To achieve this vision for the country, we prepared roadmaps in different sectors. If you look at that, there are 12 of them. Out of that, 6 were released during my tenure, and I put education right on the top because I believe that education is the key to success. As luck would have it, on November 10th and 11th, 2017, when Dr. Anil Kakutkar's 75th birthday was there, in Pune itself, where right now I am, we actually released this document on education, and then it also became part of new education policies. It was an important input for new education policy. And I wanted to come back to education sector because of this belief of mine that education is the road to success for the country. And I wanted to come back to university as a vice chancellor, which is starting. It is a new university, so that I can shape it up. It was both an opportunity and challenge. And today I'm happy to tell you that whatever we are doing at D.Y. Patil International University in Akurdi campus of Pune has become trendsetter for the country. I'll not go into more details. You can read at my blogs. So education was something that I focused very well on this. And these are a little summary of each of these. We have talked about many things like flipped classroom and so on. And we are now using many of these. Some of these, of course, became familiar when the COVID happened. I will leave out these details because short is time. In fact, I would just something cross by. So in the transportation sector, we had actually shown a flying car. And today I'm happy to tell you that probably we are about to start a flying car project. A prototype has been developed by a gentleman, and he wants to do the further commercialization in my campus if it works out well. So I think I would probably stop at this point. and we can, if there's any further question, we can take. We want all the young people to read this document, to understand, and this can become a good source for their dream, because sometimes if you just read one sentence, your dream can be based on that. And in this book is full of thousands of such dreams. And similarly, in this book also, Strategic Challenges, if you read my chapter on technology, emerging disruptive technology, there are hundreds of things that I've talked about that is very important for the country to survive the threats. That is, I just said that the boundary is no longer the issue. It's not the China, Pakistan that is important. It could be anywhere from anywhere in the world, because hypersonic missiles and so on that can cover the earth in 1 hour time. So it can come from anywhere. And similarly, cyber threats, we already seen that boundaries, physical boundaries, no meaning. And we have seen the bioweapons. We've seen it's said that the whole corona thing was a bioweapon of some kind. So we want the students, people to go through these documents and dream big and make India the country. And I will tell you, today itself, I was so surprised to see that so many global investors coming to, I'm not going to them, they are coming to me saying that we want to spend hundreds of millions of dollars. I cannot even imagine that hundreds of $1 million, for us in India, actually it's like 700, 800 crores. And they were saying this is the minimum we invest. This is the minimum viability. They want to invest more. And it's not one investor. Right now, in last 1 week, I have 3 investors talking to me. So it is very surprising, but I think there's a time for India. We have the demographic dividend. It's the young people who can make difference. Thank you so much.
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर. जस्ट फ्यू लाइक एक दो क्वेश्चंस हैं कि जैसे अभी 2035 में पहले जो 2020 वाला विजन डॉक्यूमेंट था डॉक्टर एपीजे अब्दुल कलाम ने और लाइक होल कंट्री को लेके आगे चले थे, एंड लाइक 2035 में भी जनरली है वही चीजें, मोर टेक्नो फ्रेंडली टेक्नोलॉजी को उसमें दिखाया गया है. तो अभी मतलब उस चीज के लिए आप बच्चों को क्या संदेश देना चाहिए जो हमारे अभी जैसे 9 से 12 तक के या ग्रेजुएट बच्चे हैं जो अभी इस वेबिनार से जुड़े हुए हैं, कि उन्हें मतलब किस चीज में ज्यादा आगे बढ़ना चाहिए?
देखिए, एक चीज मैं आपको शायद रिफ्रेश करना चाहूंगा. दोनों जो किताबें हैं वो कंट्री के लिए हैं. थोड़ा सा फोकस हमारा अलग था. दोनों में टेक्नोलॉजी की बात की गई है, लेकिन उन्होंने उसमें इंडिया की बात कही गई. टेक्नोलॉजी विजन 2020 में हमने इंडियंस की बात कही. उसमें टेक्नोलॉजी विजन 20 में कंट्री की बात की, हमने सिटीजन्स की बात कही. हमने क्या ये कहा कि एवरी सिटीजन मैटर्स. हर एक व्यक्ति के लाइफ का इंपॉर्टेंस है. ऐसा नहीं कि आप दिल्ली में बैठे हैं और आपका लाइफ बहुत इम्प्रूव हो गया और कोई एक छोटे से गांव में बैठा हुआ है उसकी लाइफ खराब होती गई या वैसे ही रही. सबका लाइफ इंपॉर्टेंट है. सबके लाइफ की रिक्वायरमेंट है. सबकी लाइफ की रिक्वायरमेंट अलग अलग है. केवल पैसे से ही नहीं होता है. तो वो हमने इसमें दोनों में की. दोनों मतलब कंट्री इज मेड ऑफ सिटीजन्स. एक में कंट्री की बात कही गई, एक में सिटीजन की बात की. दोनों एक ही बात है. दोनों में टेक्नोलॉजी की बात कही गई है. दूसरा बात जो आपने बच्चों की बात कही कि 9th-10th में है, जो मैं बार बार वही रिपीट करता हूं कि पहले आपको ये रियलाइज करना पड़ेगा कि आपकी क्या स्ट्रेंथ है, वेयर यू आर गुड एट. और इसमें मैं ब्रेन पर भी काम करता हूं और ये भी कर रहा हूं. उसके हम लोग का एक स्कूल अजीत जी जानते हैं पटना में, स्कूल ऑफ क्रिएटिव लर्निंग, मेरे भैया भाभी चलाते हैं उसको. उसमें हम लोग मल्टीपल इंटेलिजेंस की थ्योरी यूज करते हैं. जो लोग एजुकेशन जुड़े हुए हैं उसके बारे में पढ़ते हैं. प्रोफेसर हॉवर्ड गार्डनर की थ्योरी है. तो हर एक बच्चे के यूनिक है. हर एक बच्चा यूनिक है. ऐसा नहीं कि ये सब रोबोट, हम लोग रोबोट हैं. हम लोग सब अलग व्यक्ति हैं, अलग लोग हैं. और हमको ये चाहिए कि हर एक बच्चे की जो स्ट्रेंथ है, जो वीकनेस, उसको समझना चाहिए. यदि मुझको ये कहा जाए कि तुम गायक बन जाओ, जबकि मेरी गायकी में कोई कैपेबिलिटी नहीं है, तो हम तो फेल ही होंगे ना. तो हमको ये देखना पड़ेगा कि हर एक बच्चे का स्ट्रेंथ क्या है, वीकनेस क्या है. और हो सकता है कि कोई बच्चा लॉजिकल इंटेलिजेंस में भी हायर है और रिदमिक में हायर है, तो उसका कॉम्बिनेशन कैसा है. तो वो देखने की जरूरत है कि हर एक बच्चे की जो इनहेरेंट कैपेबिलिटी उसको रिकॉग्नाइज करना और उसको उस दिशा में आगे बढ़ने की जरूरत है, रादर देन सबको कहो कि नहीं तुम एक ही चीज बनो. ऐसा पॉसिबल नहीं है. हर एक बच्चे की यूनिक कैपेबिलिटी है और इसको हमको देखना चाहिए.
सर जैसे कि अभी नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी भी आई है और उसमें जो हमारा ग्रॉस एनरोलमेंट रेशियो है वो शायद अभी जो हमारा चल रहा है करीब 30 मतलब 2020 में 25-26 के आसपास था और जो 2035 तक बढ़ाने के है वो 42 या 45 to 50 था। तो मतलब हम लोग मतलब इस चीज को कैसे देखते हैं कि भाई हायर एजुकेशन में अभी हमारा एनरोलमेंट ही इतना कम है, तो हम लोग कैसे इस चीज को अचीव कर पाएंगे मतलब 2035 तक?
देखिए, गवर्नमेंट सिस्टम्स में ऑलवेज एक नंबर्स की बात कही जाती है, व्यक्ति की बात नहीं कही जाती है, क्योंकि हम स्टैटिस्टिक्स पर बिलीव करते हैं, जीडी पर बात करते हैं। हम तो बार बार यही कह रहे हैं कि हर एक व्यक्ति की लाइफ इंपॉर्टेंट है। यदि हम नहीं भी पढ़ें और फिर भी हमारी लाइफ अच्छी है तो कोई बात नहीं है। लेकिन सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है कि हम जब बच्चे को फोर्स करते हैं, जो उसका इंटरेस्ट नहीं है, उसके विपरीत इंटरेस्ट के हम उसको फोर्स करते हैं, तो वो बच्चा फ्रस्ट्रेटेड हो जाता है। और उसमें सबसे ज़्यादा जो फ्रस्ट्रेटेड होते हैं, एक दिल्ली में मैंने एक इवेंट किया था, आइडेंटिफाइंग एंड नर्चरिंग गिफ्टेड चिल्ड्रन। मुझको याद नहीं अजीत जी आए थे कि नहीं इसमें। तो जो ऐसे गिफ्टेड चिल्ड्रन, जैसे रामानुजम ले लीजिए, या लता मंगेशकर ले लीजिए, या सचिन तेंदुलकर ले लीजिए। लता मंगेशकर क्लास 10th नहीं पास की कभी, सचिन तेंदुलकर ने कभी क्लास 10th पास नहीं किया। लेकिन लता मंगेशकर को यदि हम नॉर्मल तरीके से सोचते तो बोलते कि ये तो बेवकूफ कि 10th पास नहीं कर पाई। लेकिन वो तो जीनियस थी म्यूजिक की। सचिन तेंदुलकर को भगवान बोलते हैं लोग क्रिकेट का, तो उनका जो काइनेस्थिक इंटेलिजेंस है वो काफी हाई था। तो हम हर एक बच्चे को एक ही मापदंड पर नहीं कंपेयर कर सकते हैं। तो सबसे ग्रॉस इन्वॉल्वमेंट बढ़ाने की ये जरूरत है कि उनको उनके जो कैपेबिलिटी उसके हिसाब से किया जाए। और दूसरा है कि जो वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग की बात वो भी कही गई एनईपी में 2020 में डॉक्यूमेंट, वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि लाइफ स्किल्स सीखना बहुत जरूरी है। और सबको ऐसा नहीं कि उनको मास्टर्स और पीएचडी करने की जरूरत नहीं होनी चाहिए। तो इफेक्टिवली फोकस ऑन इंडिविजुअल बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, और मेरी आशा है कि उससे ही ग्रॉस एनरोलमेंट रेशियो बढ़ जाएगा।
वेरी ट्रू, वेरी ट्रू। कृष्णा?
Uh, uh, Thank you very much for your great insight, sir. Probably, I believe because of time constraint, we can't ask many questions. But one thing that I would just want, I don't want to stretch, but I just wanted to mention, you said that we must read a 2035 book, and I completely agree with that, because in around 2012, I read 2020 book Vision book, and I was in Army Public School Kota. In the library, this book was there, and I was inspired by the Kalam Sir Vision. So I basically read it, and just quoting few things that even when I was in class 10, I probably not understood most of it, but few things that I believe, because it talked about health in villages and all these things, Pura concept and all, and I believe few things we have achieved as well. Probably we have not achieved what all the things that is written in 2020 book, but we have achieved few things, or most of the things, because he also talked about internet connectivities, and probably I believe by 2020 this internet connectivity things was almost done. So probably the things that you have mentioned in 2020 and 2035 books, it might sound difficult, but I believe we are on the right track with people like you, Ubdesh Verma sir, and many other dreamers, Ajit sir as well. Probably with this cooperative attitude that you talked about, we will be able to cherish many things, many dreams of our freedom fighters, our current generation. With this, I would like to hand over the mic to Dr. Ajit sir, founder of Khushigram, to give a concluding remark for this wonderful session. And I'm greatly honored to have this word with Professor Prabhat Ranjan sir.
सबसे पहले तो प्रोफेसर प्रभात रंजन जी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आवाज आ रही है ना?
यस
जी जी आ रही है सर, आ रही है।
मैं हिंदी में बोल रहा हूँ इसलिए कि ज्यादा बात हम लोगों ने इंग्लिश में किया, अंग्रेजी में, तो मैं हिंदी में बोल रहा हूँ कि जिन लोगों ने थोड़ा कम्युनिकेशन का गैप हुआ होगा थोड़ा समझ लेंगे। तो बहुत अच्छे से सारे चीजों के बारे में आपने बताया, अपनी जो यात्रा जर्नी जो थी, नेतरहाट एक गुरुकुल था, और कैसे वहां पे लोग खुद करके सीखते थे और मोटिवेशन मिलता था वहां से करके काम, छोटे से स्कूल से, गांव से, बचपन से, फिर कैसे आप आगे बढ़े, आईआईटी में आए और आईटी के बाद कैसे आपने प्रोजेक्ट्स किए, कैसे डिटरमाइन किया वो जेएनयू की रात जब आपने इंस्टेंटली डिसाइड किया कि आपको न्यूक्लियर फिजन या स्पेस रिसर्च में जाना है, फिर वहां से आगे बढ़े बर्कले में, बर्कले से वापस आए, वापस तुरंत आ गए, जैसे कि जो कि मुश्किल होता है, बहुत से भारतीय 99% लोग तो रुक जाते हैं कुछ समय और कुछ लोग तो परमानेंटली रुक जाते हैं। तो वो आकर आपने देश के लिए जो है सोच थी आपकी कि आप मतलब देश के लिए कुछ करें ऐसे रिसर्च जिससे देश को लाभ हो, काफी सारा आपने काम किया। एक दो काम विशेष रूप से, चूंकि मैं थोड़ी बहुत जानकारी है तो मैं बताना चाहता हूँ। एक तो आपने स्कूल ऑफ क्रिएटिव लर्निंग के बारे में बोला, जो आपके भैया जो विजय प्रकाश जी काफी अच्छे से चला रहे हैं, और हमें जाने का मौका मिला कई बार, और कई टूल्स, कई चीजों को देखने का मौका मिला। अभी फिर अगले साल जाना है लंबे समय के लिए, तो जाएंगे, कुछ समय वहां पे देंगे भी, कुछ दिन वहां पे देंगे। फिर आपने बताया जो फंडिंग का जो प्रॉब्लम और जो चैलेंजेस थे, और भारत के तरफ लोग फंडिंग बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज होता था। तो अब हमारी बात हुई और देखिए कितनी अच्छी हमारी बात हुई कि बात होते ही फंडर सारे आ गए। लगता है उन्होंने भी सुन लिया शायद हमारी बात कहीं। तो अच्छा है, फंडिंग आ रही है तो ये प्रोजेक्ट्स हो रहे हैं और ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों को आप इन्वॉल्व भी करेंगे, और काफी सारे लोगों को लाइवलीहुड्स तो मिलेगा, बट क्रिएटिव लाइवलीहुड्स मिलेगा, अपॉर्चुनिटीज मिलेंगे। जो साइंटिफिक रिसर्च के मौके नहीं मिलते हैं उतने, वो मौके मिलेंगे इस तरह के सपोर्ट सिस्टम से। और इस तरह से सपने देखने का स्ट्रॉन्ग जो एक चीज सबके अंदर रहती है और होनी चाहिए, उस पर आपने काफी अच्छे से बोला। और एक बात खास आपने बोला जो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है, जो हम लोग इनफैक्ट कृष्णा से आज सुबह ही बात हो रही थी, दिन में हम लोग बात कर रहे थे जुपिटर के एस्टेरॉइड्स वाली जो एरिया है आप, और उसमें जो रिसोर्स है उसके बारे में हम लोग डिस्कस कर रहे थे। क्योंकि मेरा तो सिर्फ साइंस 12 तक था, कृष्णा का कॉलेज भी मतलब साइंस में ही हुआ था, बट मेरी पढ़ने की काफी रुचि है, जानकारी लेने की। तो हमने बोला कि हमने पढ़ा है कि एस्टेरॉइड्स वहाँ काफी हैं और काफी रिच है रिसोर्सेज में। तो हम लोग बात कर रहे थे कि वहां पहुंचने में पता नहीं कितना समय लगे, शायद 50 साल लगे, 100 साल लगे, 10 साल लगे, 20 साल लगे। बट ये मतलब बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो हमें जानकारी नहीं होती है, बट जो विजन रिपोर्ट या इस तरह की जो स्टडीज होती है उसमें चीजें आती हैं। और कई चीजें आपने जैसे बोला, इमेजिन कर रहे थे कि ये टेक्नोलॉजीज आएगी, और वो टेक्नोलॉजीज आ गई उसी पीरियड में, जब तक प्रधानमंत्री जी ने इसका लोकार्पण किया तब तक में। तो ये एक बहुत अच्छा चीज रहा। दूसरा जो एक और जो सबसे की पॉइंट लगा, वो कि फैमिली सिस्टम या सोसाइटी में जो सपोर्ट सिस्टम, सोसाइटी सपोर्ट सिस्टम का तो क्वेश्चन कृष्णा ने पूछा था, लेकिन फैमिली का जो सपोर्ट सिस्टम बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। क्योंकि सोसाइटी में सबसे जो क्लोजेस्ट होता है वो फैमिली होता है, चाहे वो आपके माता पिता हो, ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स हो, या भाई सिबलिंग्स हो, भाई बहन हो, या आपके बच्चे हो। तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो ये की पॉइंट लेके मतलब हम जा रहे हैं, और ये बहुत ही क्रूशियल चीज है, और ये रिकॉर्ड भी हुआ है, तो इसका और भी लोगों तक डिसेमिनेट होगा मेरे ख्याल से, और उसके की पॉइंट्स कुछ निकलेंगे। और कुछ पॉइंट्स मैंने और नोट किए थे, नोट तो मैंने काफी लंबा किया था, लेकिन उतना समय नहीं है बताने का, तो इसलिए मेरे ख्याल से उतनी डिटेल में नहीं जाएंगे। तो और हमें बहुत मौका मिला, मतलब आपका टेक्नोलॉजी विजन के एक दो रिपोर्ट को देखने का भी, आपने हमें प्रेजेंट भी किया था। तो हमें मतलब मेरे लिए बहुत अपॉर्चुनिटी है कि आपसे करीब लगभग 10 साल से जुड़े हैं, 10 साल से ज्यादा से, और काफी कुछ सीखने को मिला आपसे और समझने को मिला आपसे। और आपके द्वारा ही साइंस में मेरी रुचि जो थी और बढ़ी भी, और समझ भी बढ़ी। और आपने बड़े अच्छे से, मुझे याद है कुछ समय पहले फोन पे समझाया था न्यूक्लियर फ्यूजन और जो एक्सपेरिमेंट आप लोग कर रहे हो उसके बारे में, मेरी समझ में आई थी, वही मैं कृष्णा को बता रहा था सुबह में, कि मतलब समझाने का तरीका जो कम्युनिकेशन का होता है वो है। और बल्कि मैं इस मौके पे ये भी कहूंगा कि जो प्रोजेक्ट्स है उसमें कहीं कम्युनिकेशन की जरूरत हो, तो मेरा कम्युनिकेशन का स्पेशलाइजेशन है, 25 सालों का डेवलपमेंट और साइंस और एनवायरमेंट कम्युनिकेशन का, तो हम हाजिर हैं हमेशा सेवा में। और थोड़ा मैं 15-20 सेकंड खुशीग्राम के बारे में बताना चाहूंगा कि हम लोग का बेसिकली गोल है कि कैसे हम लोग सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट का इंटीग्रेशन, जैसे आपने बोला कि इस विजन का, पॉलिसी का ये गोल था कि कैसे ग्रास रूट लेवल तक पहुंचे, ये चीज लोगों तक पहुंचे, लोगों को उसका फायदा हो। उपदेश जी ने भी अपने कहा कि मतलब कैसे वो एजुकेशन पहुंचे एकदम अंडर प्रिविलेज लोगों तक, स्लम चिल्ड्रन हो या रूरल चिल्ड्रन हो। तो उसी तरह से हमारा कैसे हम एक सोसाइटी, एक कम्युनिटी में सारी चीजें जो उनकी बेसिक मूलभूत जो आवश्यकताएं हैं वो उन तक पहुंच पाए। तो सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट का इंटीग्रेशन अपने पार्टनर्स के साथ मिलकर करें। और बहुत अच्छा लगा कि हम लोग के अब हम लोग काफी सारे साथी और पार्टनर्स बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, और उपदेश जी से टेक्नोलॉजी का मिलता ही है, और कृष्णा से बहुत एनर्जी मिलते रहती है, यंग मोटिवेटिंग एनर्जी। हमेशा मैं इटावा भी गया था और वहां भी मिला कृष्णा, और कृष्णा है काफी सारे कलीग से, और फिजिकली भी जाके, और काफी सारे हम लोग के कॉमन तार भी जुड़े हैं, हमारे कुछ टीचर्स हैं, हमारे कुछ सीनियर्स हैं जो इनके जुड़े हैं। तो हम लोग मिलकर अगर काम करें तो काफी कुछ अच्छा होगा। और इस मिशन में भी आपको कहीं लगता है हम लोग सबकी जरूरत, तो हम लोग सब साथ हैं आपके, और इसको हम लोग आगे बढ़ाएंगे। और अगर हम ठीक से आगे बढ़े तो मेरे ख्याल से टेक्नोलॉजी विजन जो 2035 है वो भी हम शायद पहले पूरा कर लेंगे, और सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट का भी 2030 का जो विजन है वो भी शायद हम 2030 के पहले पूरा कर लेंगे। और आपकी जो एक किताब में जो आपने चैप्टर लिखा वो भी 2030 ही है, तो वो भी शायद हम उस स्ट्रेटेजी को हम इम्प्लीमेंट कर पाएंगे 2030 के पहले। तो मैं थोड़ा जल्दी बोला क्योंकि बहुत सारी चीजें बोलने की थी और समय बहुत कम था। तो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद एक बार फिर से, बहुत मजा आया। तो एक बार फिर से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद आप लोगों को भी।
Thank you very much, sir.
Any concluding remark from Prabhat Ranjan sir?
I am just tempted to share something Ajit ji mentioned. I think if I take 1 minute time, the nuclear fusion project, what we are trying to do is that nuclear fusion project is actually, our focus has been on producing energy, clean, boundless energy for the whole world. But we are taking an intermediate path, very important for the country. I wanted to mention this. During that process, we also produce neutrons. India has the highest reserve of thorium in the world. And by using that, we believe we can convert thorium to uranium. And the kind of wealth it will generate for the country, according to one of our US collaborators, it is just like Saudi Arabia discovering oil. Just one, there are 3 projects of that kind. Other one is converting the atomic power station. They produce a lot of radioactive waste. Nobody in the world has any solution to that. We believe that we also have a solution for that. And third is there is a medical isotope, technetium-99m, that is used in 80 to 85% of the world's need for radioisotopes. We believe that we can also produce that, of which there is a heavy shortage. And worldwide, there are 6 reactors right now being used. Out of that, 5 are going to be closing down in next 8 to 10 years. So that project is very, very important. I thought I'll just mention this. As I mentioned during my talk, that projects had come to a standstill because of lack of funds. But it was yesterday night only that I got the good news. And then today also, when we had discussion about setting up $100 million techno-commercial center, this discussion came up where actually they wanted to invest in such projects which are very long shot, requiring a lot of investments, not short-term goals. Like most of the investment we see is 3 years, services based. So this is a big change that I'm seeing in the country. That was my dream, to be frank, when I was setting my university, that how do I change this whole thing where we are always focused on short-term goals. So the change for the country that I'm seeing today is coming from all directions. The world is looking at us, and it's the young people who can make their dream and our dream feasible. Thank you.
एक चीज और बस 1 मिनट और लेंगे आपका। डॉक्टर वशिष्ठ नारायण सिंह वाला जो एक्सपेरिमेंट था, डॉक्टर वशिष्ठ नारायण सिंह के बारे में शायद सब लोग नहीं जानते होंगे, बट आप थोड़ा बता दीजिए 1 मिनट बस, और उनका 1-1.5 मिनट 2 मिनट में जो बता सकते हैं बता दीजिए।
उनके बारे में मैंने एक ब्लॉग लिखा हुआ है, और वो नेत्रहाट में मेरे सीनियर थे। वो 1957 में आए थे, मैं 1970 में, तो मुझसे 13 साल सीनियर थे। और उनके बारे में हम स्कूल में ही सुनते रहते थे। और वो मैथ्स जीनियस थे। और पटना यूनिवर्सिटी में उनको बीएससी मैथमेटिक्स में एक वाकया ऐसा हुआ कि उनके मैथमेटिक्स के टीचर जो थे वो बहुत परेशान हो रहे थे उनसे, क्योंकि बहुत सारा प्रश्न पूछते थे और टीचर बार बार परेशान थे कि ये क्वेश्चन पूछते रहता है, हमको आगे बढ़ने नहीं देता है। तो उन्होंने उसके बारे में कंप्लेंट की प्रिंसिपल भी बाय चांस मैथमेटिक्स के थे। तो प्रिंसिपल ने उनसे इंटरेक्ट किया, देखा कि ये बच्चा तो बहुत कुछ जानता है पहले से ही, तो उनको बीएससी की एग्जाम पहले दी गई और उसके बाद 6 महीने के अंदर एमएससी का, दोनों में फर्स्ट क्लास पास हुए थे। और उसके बाद वो यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ कैलिफोर्निया बर्कले गए, जहाँ मैं भी गया था। वहाँ से एक प्रोफेसर जॉन के लिए आए हुए थे पटना, उस टाइम एक कॉन्फ्रेंस था, उसमें उनसे मुलाकात लोगों ने करवाई और वो बर्कले गए। और उसके बाद वो इंडिया वापस आए वहाँ पीएचडी करने के बाद, और उनके बारे में काफ़ी कुछ कहा गया है। बहुत सारी जानकारियाँ ऑफ कोर्स शायद अफवाह हैं, लेकिन जो प्रत्यक्षदर्शी जो बोलते हैं उसके बारे में हम लोग की जानकारी है। लेकिन उसके बाद जब इंडिया वापस आए तो कभी एक स्टेज में उनको स्किज़ोफ्रेनिया के शिकार हो गए और उससे वो लाइफ भर जूझते रहे। 2013 में मुझको उनसे मिलने का मौका मिला और उस टाइम मैंने स्टोरी में लिखी हुई है कि मेरी मीटिंग उनसे कैसे हुई और क्या क्या हुआ उसमें। लेकिन वो वो सपने ही देखते थे। उनके रूम में मैं जब गया तो उनके दीवार पर इक्वेशंस लिखे हुए थे, बहुत सारे चीजें। और मैंने जब उनसे बात की तो वो, मैं कुछ बोल रहा था, वो कुछ दूसरा चीज बोल रहे थे। मैं उनसे बात कर रहा था कि हम लोग दोनों एक ही स्कूल में गए, एक ही यूनिवर्सिटी में पीएचडी किया है, और वो कुछ अपना ही बोलते थे। बोलते कि ये रिसर्च पेपर, ये CR1 इक्वेशन टेक्स्ट बुक में आ गया है क्या, ये किताब लाए हो क्या। तो कोई लिंक नहीं था। लेकिन कुछ देर बाद मैं उनके बेडरूम में गया और अचानक आए, मुझको बोले कि अरे अच्छा, आपने पीएचडी बर्कले से किया था, वो तो बड़ा टफ है। तो समहाउ वो इंटरेक्ट कर रहे थे, लेकिन रिस्पॉन्स उनका बड़ा अलग अलग था, लेकिन उनके दिमाग में जा रहा था वो चीज। फिर हमने उनके लिए उनकी जो किताबें थी, ये सब कुछ गांव में पड़े हुए थे। और बाय द वे, जिन लोग जो नहीं जानते हैं, वो बीच में 3-4 साल के लिए खो गए थे कहीं। एक ट्रेन जर्नी में जा रहे थे, पटना से पुणे की जर्नी थी, उसमें कहीं गायब हो गए रात में। उसके 2-3 साल बाद मिले थे वो गांव के, उनके एक्चुअली उनके वाइफ के गांव, जिससे उनका डिवोर्स हो गया था। वहां पर मिले थे, 2 लोगों ने देखा उनको कहीं रेस्टोरेंट वगैरह में कुछ छोटा मोटा काम करके सरवाइव कर रहे थे। उस टाइम वो नेशनल न्यूज हुआ था, अराउंड 91-92 की बात है। मैं 2013 मिला तो उनके लिए बहुत सारी चीजें हमने व्यवस्था की, अपने स्कूल एलुमनी के थ्रू डोनेट करके उनके लिए बुक रैक्स, डेस्क, चेयर, सब कुछ बनाया जैसे कि नॉर्मल घर में रहता है। और उनको हमने एक चीज और दी थी, जो मैं ब्रेन पर काम करता हूँ, उनको हमने एक साउंड्स दिया था सुनने के लिए रात में। वो खुद तो नहीं सुनते थे, फैमिली मेंबर्स सुनाते थे। तो रात में सोने से तो उनका जो एग्रेसिव बिहेवियर था वो थोड़ा सा काम हो गया काफी। तो मैं उनसे लास्ट जुड़ा रहा, और 2019 में, मुझको याद है शायद अक्टूबर में मुझसे फोन से बात की थी। उसका नवंबर में उनका अनफॉर्चुनेटली डेथ हो गया। मैं उस टाइम यूएस में था। तो उसी टाइम मैंने उन पर एक ब्लॉग लिखा था, जिनको ज्यादा जानकारी उसमें देख सकते हैं। लेकिन ये भी मैं कहना चाहूँ कि बहुत सारे अफवाहें भी फैलाई गई हैं जो सही नहीं है उनके बारे में। क्योंकि क्या होता है कि वो तो उस अवस्था में नहीं थे कि वो बता सकें अपने बारे में। तो लोग उनके बारे में कुछ कुछ बताते रहते थे। लेकिन बहुत कुछ जो प्रत्यक्षदर्शी जो लोग हैं, उनसे जो हमने बात की है, उनकी जो पेपर्स हैं, जो थीसिस है, वो सब हमने शेयर किया है, और उनके लाइफ के बारे में भी हमने किया है। धन्यवाद।
Thank you very much, sir, for all the insight that you have shared. With this, we come to the end of the session. Would request all the audience, if in case you wish to share your feedback with us, I would like you to just send us the mail. We'll share the mail ID on the all the groups. Please try to send us your feedback via mail, because we believe we can basically go through your feedback in detail and can basically add on things, or can make this session more valuable for you. Thank you, everyone, and special thanks to Professor Prabhat Ranjan sir for your valuable time.
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर। होपफुली सर
Thank you.
आपका
Thanks a
विजन
lot.
डॉक्यूमेंट को हम डिटेल में किसी दिन एक एक्स्ट्रा लेक्चर लेके फिर इसे ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं
बिल्कुल।
सर। जी जी
हाँ,
जी,
बिल्कुल
थैंक यू
बिल्कुल
वेरी
करना
मच।
चाहिए।
My pleasure.
थैंक यू सर। ओके।
Thank you.